What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Shots from the Winchester podcast, brought to you by Greencastle Consulting, your nation's premier strategy execution firm. I'm your host, Al Green. We're going to have a really fun conversation today. We're going to be talking to Firstrust Bank, and we have two really cool people that I just met, but Matt, I met you already earlier. Thank you for coming through, Jason. So we have Jason Showmaker, VP of SBA Relationship Manager, and Matt Hein, EVP, Chief Banking Officer at Firstrust Bank. And they're going to be talking to us today. They're also sponsors of the Vet Fest. Thank you so much for being on our show today. Been looking forward to this conversation for a while. So let's just jump right on in. Thank you again for being on the show. Now, Jason, you're actually a active service member.
That is correct. Yes, sir. I'm in the Navy Reservist.
Yeah.
So Firstrust has just been a great place to work and also allow me to be in the service.
Nice.
Give back when I can, volunteer when I can, and just be available for the opportunities that come up, when the Navy asks of it. So it's been great.
And
that's awesome.
I mean, just to add on to it, we're really proud of Jason.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been awesome. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if when you joined the reserves, if we used to work out together in the gym years ago, and Jason kind of told me, what he was doing and why he was doing it. And it was so cool. And then, the pandemic occurred and we knew you were going away pre-pandemic, right? Is when we found out that you were called up to duty and you went to Bahrain, right? And man, we were proud of you, worried about you, concerned about you, and then goes into this thing with one expectation of when you're coming home and everything, and then in the middle of the pandemic, all that changes. So we were proud of everything you were doing and happy when you got home. In the meantime, I think your wife didn't she twist her ankle or break her ankle, something?
Broke her ankle.
Two little ones at home.
She broke her ankle on Christmas Day, taking out trash boxes.
Two little girls at home, and Jason's over there. So it's amazing that now you're at the back end of it, and you're still doing what you're doing. And I don't have a lot in my office at White Marsh, but one thing I have is a flag that Jason presented to me that was flown in on the base in Bahrain, right? And
wow.
That's one of my most cherished pieces that I've ever, gifts I've ever been given by anybody before.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what an honor.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
awesome.
So,
well, Matt's support meant a lot to me before I deployed. And I think a lot of folks, when they get the news of deployment, they're really excited for it, right? A lot of guys are ready to go. And I wasn't really sure what to expect having, a little baby at home. My wife was pregnant at the time when I learned that I was going to be mobilized. So it was, a little nerve wracking. But I remember getting that call from our XO from my battalion saying that I was going overseas, and I just felt like, oh man, what did I get myself into? How am I going to make this happen?
Right.
And, I had to shut down my computer, and I went across the street to the gym where I'd work out with Matt sometimes. And I remember sitting on an incline bench just with a pair of dumbbells at my feet, and I wasn't
90
doing
pound dumbbells,
anything.
by the way.
No. But Matt comes over and he goes, "You haven't done anything in 20 minutes. What's going on?"
Right.
So Matt was actually the first person that I told that I was being deployed.
Wow.
And it meant a lot to me, his response and his reaction, right? It was fully supportive, and really went a long way. And that's been a great part of being at Firstrust. That's just one small example because everybody at Firstrust was really supportive of me prior to deploying, while I was deployed, and then when I got back, and still now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been really great. I feel very lucky to be a part of the Firstrust family and to work with folks like Matt, and it just being a place where I can learn and grow and still give back in the military aspect.
That's awesome. And Greencastle is actually a client of
That's right.
Firstrust as well,
Yep.
which is awesome. The Eagles is also a
big
customer of yours,
absolutely.
which is cool. How long has that been a thing?
Yeah, good question. So it's funny you brought up my two favorite customers, right? Yeah, honestly, there is on the third floor of our building in White Marsh, our headquarters. We have a wall that has the logos of some of the companies that we bank that were are more recognizable names we're really proud of. And you've got the Eagles, Eagle, logo right there, and right next to you got Greencastle Consulting.
That's so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So Very proud of both relationships. The Eagles relationship, it dates back, quite a bit of time because there's some common ownership between the bank and the Eagles. But in 2020, we signed an agreement with the Birds to become the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Nice.
So, over the last 4 years, and hope the first of many years, we've been working together. There's obviously as the official bank, there's the marketing piece of it, which tying our two brands together has been incredibly valuable for the bank.
Yeah.
The Eagles are a staple from South Philadelphia, storied organization, that does the right thing in the community. And Firstrust is a 90-year-old from South Philadelphia, storied institution that does great things in the community. So there's such a good alignment between the two companies.
I'd say so, yeah.
We've been able to, we've got a club in the stadium. So, during games and even on off days when we host events, we do that at our Firstrust Bank Club in the stadium. We've got a big sign up there. Anywhere you sit in the stadium, you're going to see it, and plenty of other fun stuff going on around the stadium. And then all the, the other joint branding and marketing we do together with them, which is great. But a lot of people are surprised when they hear that we also are the bank of the Eagles. Like they literally do their banking with us. And, you're talking about a company on game day that has 1,000 employees and so many transactions. It's complex. But even as we are known as we are a community bank, and we're certainly not the size of a big regional or a corporate like some of the other names that you hear. We still have the capabilities and the ability to be able to serve a client like the Eagles for everything that they need.
Wow. And it sounds like a lot to manage. Because the numbers that they're putting up are insane.
It is. No, it is. It's a lot of, there is a lot of transactions, a lot of people on our team that are involved in the relationship, whether it's our folks in our branches or, our back office transactional teams or the relationship managers up front. And all of that is complex. But, the similarities going back to like Greencastle being a customer and Firstrust and the Eagles, there's a relationship there. So, the relationship that I and others have with Joe and Eric here at Greencastle, very similar to the relationship I have and others at Firstrust have with the senior leadership team and the executive team at the Eagles. And so, they know where to go when they need something, and we know our customers and we have that kind of relationship. And so that's really important to us too, as we're banking folks. So I guess the moral of that story, and for those that, are on this call, they're thinking about, where do I bank and do I have that? And we have this whole, we just launched this campaign with the Eagles around Challenge Your Bank. And that's one of the things you should challenge your bank about is, do I really have a relationship with someone that I know, that I trust, that knows me, that's ready if something comes up as I grow? Do they already know me? Is that foundation already laid? So, and what are they doing to prove that? Right. So, so that's what the Challenge Your Bank is all about. And I'll kind of tell you a little about it, if that's okay, Al.
I was going to actually mention, for an audience out there who has a different bank, why is Firstrust the bank that they should move to?
That's an awesome question. Thanks. So I think there's a lot of reasons, but if you're looking for a bank if you're a Philadelphia-based company, you're looking for a bank that's also committed to the Philadelphia community, we are the bank. We're the largest family-owned financial institution in the region. We've been here for 90 years. We have third-generation family ownership. We have one owner at the top of the house. It's a very unique and different experience to bank with us than it is with our competitors. And for us to have one owner, we know what that's like to be an entrepreneur. So if you're a small business, if you're just getting started, or if you're a very large, complex organization, you typically have a group of entrepreneurs or a single entrepreneur that's running that. We get that. That's in our blood and our DNA. So that's first and foremost. I think the other thing is that we like to think that we give the best of both worlds, right? So we're small, we can be nimble and quick and serve needs on a personalized type of basis. Every client that banks with us has a relationship with someone at Firstrust, someone that they bank and know. But then we're also large enough that we can scale. You think about a client like the Eagles, we have the capability, the technology, and the tools to be able to scale a relationship like that and be able to serve it. I think the most important thing though is where we say to our, our potential customers and prospects, like to go out and challenge your bank. It's not just about, having the capability to serve you or the right technology and the right tools, accounts and online banking and service. That's really table stakes. But, are they bringing ideas to the table that can help your business grow?
Right.
Or are they making introductions that, to other business owners and customers of your bank that, that you guys can build some synergy and potentially build a relationship together that way. Nice. And that's a couple of things we try to do to differentiate ourselves from the competition.
That's really cool. Now thank you. That's very comprehensive. Yeah. So anybody that wants to switch banks, I definitely think that they should move to Firstrust with that, especially in mind, right? So that's awesome. One of the things we like to talk about on the show is leadership. And this question I'm going to direct to Jason right now. How do you feel the leadership is as you're a lieutenant? The leadership in the military versus in the corporate environment?
I think it really depends on the leader.
Yeah.
Right. It really depends. I've had the benefit of being around different types of leaders, right? Some who have styles that I am more receptive to and that our people are more receptive to. I think that I've had a lot of really good leaders. I've had a handful of, not the best, but I've had some really good ones. And there's a quote out there. It's Lao Tzu, right? Chinese philosopher. A leader is best who talks little when his work is done. A leader is best when people barely know he exists. And when his aims are fulfilled, they will say that we did it ourselves, right? So that quote has always resonated with me for a variety of reasons. Now, I do think that there's value in having a leader that's visible, right? Yeah. That people can aspire to and aim to be like. But there's also the value in a leader that kind of takes a step back, right? And puts the vision out there and helps the collective achieve that vision, right? So right now, the unit that I'm with, I've got one of the best bosses I've ever had. She's incredible. And then at Firstrust, we've got Matt. We've got my.
Just saying that because I'm here, but
I appreciate. No, we're lucky to have Matt, right? And you go to our CEO and president, Tim Abel, phenomenal. Richard Green, the owner of the bank, another just great leader. And then my direct manager is a gentleman named Brian Bodo. So he's one of these guys that really understands the SBA product and what we offer. Right. So he's an encyclopedia of knowledge, but he's always doing what he can to help us succeed, and then he kind of takes a step back. So I think that version of leadership has been something that I try to adhere to. Something that I'm receptive to, and something that I try to do for folks that I work with as well.
That's awesome. I love that. And we talk about leadership here, and there's so many different formats and different ways to lead people. And one of the things that I always love to hear is when you can step forward when you need to, but step back when you need to, and make sure that your team is actually helping themselves just as much as anything. You can step in and fix things if you want to, but I think it's important that a team can evolve on their own merit at the same time, which is a good way to lead. Kind of, I guess that's in a way, servant leadership.
Servant leadership.
Yeah. So that's always a good look. Besides being an awesome bank and being our bank here from Greencastle and everything like that, let's talk a little bit about philanthropic efforts that you are in charge of, as far as like Firstrust Bank. And I know we talked about this. You have the Autism Challenge. You have that. There's a few other things too. What's all?
Yeah, no, thanks. So one of the things that's near and dear to our heart is the Eagles Autism Foundation as a partner with the Eagles. So, we support that organization a lot of different ways, but the main is through the Eagles Autism Challenge, which is, a fundraising event for the Eagles Autism Foundation. There's a run, walk, bike type race that we do. We love to put a team together. We love to sponsor our employees. Gives us a chance not only to support a great organization that's doing a lot of good, for a community, but also gives us a chance to spend some time together and enjoy like rallying around that and seeing who can raise the most dollars and seeing some of the great pictures that they get with players at the race and all that kind of stuff. It's really our families can be a part of it, and so that that's a lot of fun. Nice. We try at first. You can't do everything, right? You can't support every cause you wish you could. Right. You really have to do well to be able to do good. You know, and so there's that prerequisite. Right. So there's that careful balance. But there's a lot of different things we're doing on the philanthropic side, both in the very micro local communities that we support, and then bigger things like Variety or the Eagles Autism Foundation and some others. Something that's not necessarily philanthropic, but we want to do more of because we've had a lot of success doing it is being the bank to some veteran-owned businesses. I mean, that's near and dear to our heart. And we've had some recent success working with some veteran entrepreneurs to help finance an acquisition of a company, to finance some growth. I mean, certainly the company here, and that's continuing to grow. We also took a look back and said, we've had some long-term customers of Firstrust that we think about from the business perspective and the relationship perspective, but it's like, holy cow, that's a veteran-owned business, and we didn't even know. We didn't, and so we're trying to highlight that more and really, value that, and we do value that, and having veterans, employed, at the bank is or active duty, but soon to be is also incredibly important to us too. So we try to help everywhere we can.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Veterans are built different, and military active service members, first responders, we're all built different, and I feel like it's after you get out of service, especially, there's still that sense of servitude that you want to continue to foster in yourself and in the community that you're in. And so I love that there's a lot of veteran-owned businesses out here, especially at VetFest. There's going to be over 70 vendors, including yourselves, different VSOs as well. So that's amazing. That's awesome. And thank you all for wanting to put that effort out there to get veteran businesses or people who want to run a business as a veteran some support.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's folks listening that want to talk, firstrust.com is a great place to find us, whether it's through SBA financing that Jason handles, or just traditional conventional banking services that people need. We're happy to help, and we're open for business. So feel free to reach out.
And just to add to that, even if you have no intentions at this moment to buy a business, you just have general questions about banking or financing in general, please feel free to reach out to myself, Matt, anyone at Firstrust. We're happy to have the conversation just to set you in the right direction.
Right. No, that's a great look, because you may not know what you want to do, but if you get the information, maybe you'll have a better idea where you want to go with it, which is a good thing. Now, just for our audience who might not know what SBA means, what does that mean for?
Sure. Yeah. So the SBA department, it's under the Small Business Administration, right? So we provide financing for businesses that don't necessarily fit into the conventional financing category, right? So if you're a startup, or if you're looking to expand your business and you need working capital and it's a projections-based transaction, that's often something that we'll use SBA to get you the financing that you need. So it's just a little different than commercial financing, but we found that it's a very nice product for folks that are, in the earlier stages of their business journey.
Awesome.
I'd like to add, I think a lot of business owners, when they hear SBA, sometimes they hear, stories of, it's a lot of paperwork, it's very difficult to get a loan, it's a lot of work, and it can be challenging and frustrating and all those kinds of things. That's all driven, and just as from 25 years of banking experience, that's all driven by who you're working with. It really is. So that's why, at Firstrust, we'll probably do roughly $75 million in SBA 7A transactions. Wow. Just this year. And we've been doing this for a really long time. Jason mentioned Brian Bodo, who's been doing it for years, and the lending team across our SBA team is the best in the business. Nice. So I don't hear those stories from our customers. What I hear from our customers was like, holy cow, Jason's the most responsive banker I've ever worked with. Like, he made this easy. We had 3 or 4 different changes at the last minute, and he was able to negotiate and balance them and still get us what we needed, the capital we needed to make this business acquisition or to grow our business or buy our building, whatever it may be. be. So I think it's, the SBA is a it's a little bit of a lure or a ruse if people think that it's challenging to work, together. It's really the banking partner that you're working with. And if they know what they're doing and they know how to navigate the SBA process, it's actually an outstanding way for us to grow small business in our country. You just need to be working with the right people.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just to follow up on that, Firstrust is what's considered a preferred lender through the SBA. And what that means is that we can make in-house credit decisions. We can approve transactions at the bank. We don't need to submit them into the SBA for approval. So to Matt's point, we've got a great team with Brian Bodo and Christy Shealy. She's in charge of all of our closers, and she makes sure that all of our files are correct. And it really helps make the process as seamless as possible.
Wow, that's great.
We're going to keep bouncing back and forth on SBA all day because it's really it's important to us.
It's a lot of information to get into.
So as a business owner, I have to put the asterisks out there. SBA financing is not for everyone, and realistically, not everyone is ready to take on debt. Right. So I think what you want and what we try to commit to, our customers and partners and folks that want to bank with us is that if you're not ready, we're going to let you know you're not ready, but we're going to try to get you prepared. We're like Jason just said, if you don't think you're ready, you can still reach out and talk to us, and we're willing to offer some advice and guidance. And if there's a borrower that's just not ready yet to take on that debt, what we don't want to do as a bank is give money to someone who can't pay it back. I mean, that's not good for them. That is not good for them. So, the idea is that if you're not ready, we're going to let you know that, but we're going to walk you through some steps that you could take to potentially get yourself prepared, whether it's through financial education or, maybe just some tweaks to, how your company's holding cash or managing their balance sheet or just need a little more time to get there. So those are the kinds of things we're willing to, to help people with.
So it's not like a full no, but it's like a no but.
It's a no but.
And if that's the scenario, so like you're giving education out at the same time, which is very commendable, especially there's so many people that want to start something or think they have a great idea, but maybe it just needs tweaking. And maybe they just need a more realistic lens to see what it is that they need to do, or maybe they need to scale back a little bit. But you guys will help and provide that information along the way.
What we promise is honesty, right? We just want to be honest with our potential borrowers and customers, because if they're not ready today, we want to be their bank when they are ready, right? So we've got to make sure that we're doing the right things up front.
And keeping those relationships built is a good balance in that too. And in your title also is EVP. What was for the audience?
So that's Executive Vice President, and I'm my day job is Chief Banking Officer of Firstrust. We're still a small, family owned business. We're a $5 billion company, but we feel family and small. So we wear a lot of hats at Firstrust. My day-to-day responsibilities are working together with our retail teams, which is our branch network and our call center, as well as our business lending team and our SBA lending team and small business, as well as our treasury management and deposit products. So your bank accounts and keeping your deposits and money safe and offering ways to move money effectively and safely. Those are the kinds of things that I'm responsible for on the day-to-day.
That's awesome.
Most of the time I like to just find myself out in the market, spending time getting to know people, talking, I'm very, very proud. I've been with Firstrust for 8 years. It's the best place I've ever worked. I'm incredibly proud to work there. It's, I loved it. I bleed red, believe it or not. I wear that Firstrust pin with pride. I love being out in the market. So, folks will see me kind of out there, drumming up business. And if you're ever at an Eagles game, you're going to find me there somewhere in the stadium. So running around saying hello to people and enjoying the game.
As this is being recorded, this is like the beginning of the Eagles season right now in Philadelphia. So I assume you guys are like heading to the stadium every weekend at this point.
It's like Christmas 7-8 times a year every time. Listen, I gotta be honest. So here's my game day experience, and as a partner of the Eagles, we have a lot going on game day during the stadium. So I'm lucky enough to get down to all the games, and I try to spend time with our customers and our prospects and our friends and folks that are good to the bank. We have a lot of different places to watch the game, whether it's in our President's Club box, which is pitches and a great view of the stadium. The touchdown terrace where our sign is in the corner of the stadium. Great seats, first 2 rows, looking right down on the corner of the stadium or of the field, which is great. And then various seats throughout, and plus our Firstrust Club. I grew up as a kid that would go to maybe a game once a year, sit way up in the 700 level, watching dudes fight, fighting in the veteran stadium. And there were times when there would be a pillar, or I'd have to sit on my dad's lap to see the game. And so I pinch myself. It's like a dream come true to be able to spend every game down there with people enjoying. And it's a big celebration. Yeah, it's definitely a celebration because the team is as good as they are. Right, they put a really good product on the field for year over year. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun to get down there. And we cry at the losses and we celebrate the wins and all that kind of stuff. But generally, it's just good vibes to be down there every
Luckily,
week.
No crying this year. Undefeated.
No crying. Undefeated.
Yeah, that's winning a Super Bowl.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, we talked earlier. You're also a soccer coach.
That's right.
Yeah. And you play the bass because we bonded on the bass.
That's right. Yeah. I don't have a built-in drummer at home though. That's the difference. Al's wife is a drummer, and so he's lucky enough he can just say, "Honey, play me a beat," and then just start jamming
out. Yeah. So, like we did say before, we do talk about leadership and EVP. We already mentioned that, but as a soccer coach, as a leader of, I'm assuming young kids.
They're actually so I've coached the same team and rose with them every year. So I had these kids are now 17 and 18 years old. They're full-grown men, basically, with child brains. No, they're great. I've got a great group of kids, but I've had these kids since they were 8, 9 years old. Wow. So over time we've added players to the team, but now they're U18. Many of them are preparing. Next year they'll be in college. It's great.
It's a different vibe. Leading adults, and leading kids who are still developing, right? Do you find a challenge in between those two, or is there a different way that you lead for youth in that way?
That's a good question. So, there's definitely some differences. Adults want to be talked to like adults, and I think sometimes young leaders, picture like, hey, I was the captain of my baseball team, and I got everybody fired up, and that's how I'm going to do it. And sometimes that works, but not every adult's going to react to that, right? So I think that that's the biggest difference around there's adults want to be treated like adults, and if they're kids and young men, they, you need to be different with them, right? Yeah. They're not your friends, right? I will say there's a couple similarities though that I think are important in, with leadership. The first is, as a leader, you should always be thinking about how you're developing your team, right? And, ever since day one, the first job I got in banking as a leader, I had multiple opportunities to lead in other capacities in the past, whether it be sports or, those different things. But put in a position as a leader, right away, I'm like, okay, who's going to take my job when I'm ready for the next thing? Like literally day one, thinking through those things. And then, so you build your team that way, right? You build your team with diversity, because if you build a bunch of yous, then all of your weaknesses are their weaknesses too, and you're not going to grow yourself personally, or your team's going to grow. But I think it's important that you're developing your team. So whether it's in the office, spending time with everyone to figure out what their goals and objectives are, both in the role, making sure they have clarity around what we're expecting of them today, but then you have some clarity around where they want to go tomorrow and how can I help you get there. So we both have some equal leverage and balance and value to move forward. It's the same thing with these young guys on the soccer team. It's like they all don't want the same thing out of it. Some of them are there because they love sport, they love the sport, and they just want to be around on the field and playing the game. Others are clearly like, hey, I'd really like to do this at a next level. Maybe it's at a higher level team or a college or something like that. So understanding what their goals or objectives are and helping develop them. The fun thing about the younger guys is I get to also help them develop into young men, right? And like give them and try to be the right example for them and those kinds of things. Nice. Really, really my favorite part of all that is in a huddle with these guys, the young guys, before a game, where I can give that like huddle speech. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that at work. Everyone's like, all right, dude, we heard this a million times.
Speech.
Oh, it's on, man. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I get fired up. I'm walking away. I got goosebumps. There's a tear coming down my eye.
Yeah, that's when you know you did it right.
Yeah, and they're all psyched up and ready to go. So
wow.
That's probably my favorite part about it.
Yeah.
The one other thing I was going to share, because I said two things.
Yeah.
One thing is around developing the team.
Yeah.
The other thing is, as a leader, decisions now, they matter, because it doesn't just impact you. It doesn't just, sometimes it just doesn't impact the player, and sometimes it just doesn't impact your team. There's a ripple effect to those decisions and what you do. So in my role, I see that a lot. And I've learned that, both by seeing people do it the right and wrong way, by myself making those mistakes at times.
Yeah.
But you got to really think, one, you got to be quick, right? People are, the business moves fast, right? So you want to make decisions quickly sometimes with limited information. But what I really have, been trying to focus on is, when I make a decision as a leader that's going to impact my team, how's it going to impact all the other teams that they partner and work with? Because that's really important. You may be doing something that is a benefit for your group, and it's going to help, reduce the maybe some of the challenges that they have. But are you just creating challenges in other places that's going to have a ripple effect? And I think it's just important as a leader to take, an extra second and think through, what's the impact of this decision, not just for me, but for the organization, the larger organization that we're a part of.
That's very thoughtful. Yeah, honestly, because I don't think always that comes through when you're, especially if you're in a small team or a unit like that, and your team influences so many other things, like you said, the ripple effect.
That's right. You get mission focused, which is important, right? I mean, you have a goal to hit, and you want to make sure you hit that goal. But are you jeopardizing the large organization's ability to achieve goals and objectives because you're so laser focused on yours? You got to make sure that when you make those decisions, what that impact's going to look like. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so now we got to know you guys, Jason and Matt. All right, so this is a little segment that I like to call This or That. And we're going to use this so that we get to know a little bit more about you. All right, so I'm going to just throw a couple of questions out at it. And
let's do it.
Either one of you guys jump right on in. So let's start with, I'm going to go grab some random stuff. Let's say pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
You're a pizza guy.
All day. Yeah, all day.
I'll go pasta.
Yeah.
Because there's more variety. You know what I mean? Like, and
you got ziti and
I always feel better about myself when I eat like a big bowl of pasta than if I ate like 4 slices of pizza. Like,
you know what I mean? All right. I mean, we got like cheese, tomato. It's like, it's a good look either way, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's do apartment or house.
I'm a house guy.
Yes.
I like having a yard and a driveway.
Same.
This
is an interesting one for me, because my kids are older than your kids, right? And you got a little one on the way, right? And so like I'm in a different position. My son's a senior in high school. My daughter's a freshman. So I'm 4 years away from being an empty nester. And as much as I love my home, and the yard and the neighbors and all those kinds of things, like a little bit of me is like, it might be fun to live in the city for a little while. Apartment, you know what I mean? And be close to everything, experience that like energy and all those kinds of things. So I'll say that I'm teetering. I'm a home guy right now, but I'm starting to lean towards it might be fun to just have an apartment. I don't have to worry about it. I'm out all day enjoying enjoying life in the world and that
get
kind
like
of
a
stuff.
little EV bike.
Yeah,
you can just go around and say, you don't have to like waste any gas in the city.
I don't need an EV bike. I'll just get a regular bike, man. I'll just pedal.
There you go.
Just do the real work.
I'll just pedal.
Let's try this. Let's move into movies. 80s, or actually music. 80s music or 90s music?
80s.
80s music.
Yeah. I teeter every day between Journey and Queen as to who I want to listen to. Yeah. I think today I'm on the Queen side.
Wow. It's just, I'll keep being different. So I'll go 90s. I mean, that was like, for me, for Jason, the 80s and the 90s are both the oldies, right? That's the oldies for you. Me, I was like, 90s is like, that was my jam. I was in, probably middle school up through college in the 90s. And there's some really, really good hip hop in the 90s, right? Yeah. There's some really good, that alt rock kind of like happened. And I'm a huge Pearl Jam guy. And I'm a huge, I love Nirvana and Soundgarden and, some of those bands. And, and then 90s is really where you got that, like, you know, Rage Against the Machine and some of that rock rap stuff that happened.
Yeah.
So
I won't even show you my shirt under here.
oh, really?
It's Rage Against the Machine.
Killing the
shirt.
name up on there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Love
All
that.
right, cool.
Love that.
Yeah, me too.
Let's move to let's see. Cooking or baking?
Eating. Yeah.
This is a hard, easy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is a very easy answer for me. I am a hard support on cooking, and I don't want anything to do with baking. I you know, like if you're tearing them off the, you know, the roll and you put them on the tray and just stick them in and they go, I could handle that. But I just don't understand bake. I love to eat like fresh bread or something like that.
Yeah. I respect baking.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I do like I do enjoy cooking though. I you know, my wife and I really split duties around cooking. It depends on who got home first and you know, who's got the time to do it. But I enjoy cooking. And I really enjoy grilling.
I was going to say that's my jam right there.
Yeah.
I love the grill. I can grill all day.
Yeah.
In fact, wintertime, as long as I have a space cleared out around my grill, I'm still going to cook.
Yep.
Yeah.
Winter's actually great if there's a little snow. It keeps your beer cold while you're grilling. You just throw it in the snow right there, grill up, you have a sip of your beer, and like
everything's like perfect.
Yeah,
I love
perfect conditions.
Hiking or jogging?
So I did the Marine Corps Marathon last year.
Yeah.
And I think I got all my jogging / running out of me, you know. So 2024 has been a year of hiking. So it's been neat to explore some trails in this part of the state. And,
nice.
You know,
nice.
See the nature.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with Jason. Like, I don't like jogging or running unless I have a ball in my hand, dribbling it or kicking it, playing soccer.
Yeah.
So hiking though, just a little, you know, I would say hiking. I proposed to my wife after like a 2-mile hike. So like, and it was uphill the whole way to get to this like beautiful point on the Appalachian Trail. Yeah. And I had the dog with us and everything. So it's a memorable moment for me. But like for her, she's like, "Where the hell are you taking me?" I'm exhausted. You know, what are you doing? I get her up there and did the ring thing and everything. So hiking's close to the heart for me.
Oh, that's a good look. Yeah. Last one. And I did this with you last time. Led Zeppelin or Van Halen?
I've got to go Led Zeppelin.
That's my boy. That's what I said too.
You have to.
That's what I said too. That's what I said. Because did you say Van Halen or were you? I can't remember where you were at on that.
I'm probably listening to both of them on the way here. So like I probably would say Led Zeppelin over Van Halen with pain in my heart.
Gotcha.
Because I really enjoy the energy Van Halen brings.
Yeah.
You know, like sad that he passed away, but as a guitarist, he was insane.
Oh yeah,
he was an awesome guitarist. I think he was underrated in some cases. You know, people think of Stevie Ray Vaughan, they think of Jimi Hendrix. You know, they think of like Eric Clapton. You know, they're amazing guitarists. You know, but Eddie Van Halen was insane with his work. You know, I even put Tom Morello obviously up in that category because he took something a little different with the guitar, you know, like he made it scream, he made it whine, you know, in a different way than the way people typically do. Like, you know, Hendrix is always with the wah-wah.
Yeah.
And that was awesome and everything like that. But Morello just went into a different artistic realm with it, which I think is also amazing.
I agree. I mean, they're all innovative in a way. Yeah. I think a lot of, you know, listen, I mean, Hendrix probably influenced Zeppelin and Zeppelin influenced Van Halen and Van Halen probably influenced Tom Morello, you know, and they all had that different sound or that little tweak or innovation that makes it, when you hear, you know, an Eddie Van Halen guitar solo, you recognize that's Eddie Van Halen. You know it's him. Right. Same thing. And Tom Morello is really hard. Nobody does some of the things he does. And believe me, I'm sitting in my house and I try it. I turn my amp up as loud as I can and I grab, you know, the input plug and I'm just trying to do what he does. It doesn't sound that way. I don't know how he does it. But, and I mean, Jimmy Page was probably the first one to do the whole, you know, the violin bow on the guitar kind of thing. You know what I mean? And that was a little bit of that electric sort of like tweaking of stuff. So oh man, that's cool. Yeah, but I go Zeppelin for that reason, just because I think that Zeppelin probably influenced Van Halen.
Yeah,
you know?
I would say so. Yeah, Zeppelin also comes from a blues background with the energy of their music and stuff, and I find that to be just really just intriguing, fascinating, and just like timeless. In itself, you know, like you can listen to that for centuries,
Yeah.
and still get the same energy from it.
Yep.
I believe in everything. So
Right on.
where can people find you?
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah.
So firstrust.com. So Firstrust, just I always spell it out, FIRSTRUST, just one T in the middle.com. Our website has a ton of great information. If you get into our SBA page, I think you find Jason's picture sitting there.
Yes, sir. I'm there.
So you'll be able to find him very easily.
Nice.
We're open for business and happy to talk to anybody that needs some help.
That's awesome. You guys want to do any shout outs before we go?
Oh, wow. I didn't think of that. You got any?
Just want to thank you. I want to thank Greencastle for being a great client of Firstrust.
Yeah.
And just all the folks that were happy to serve. We're happy to be here. We're happy for your business, and we look forward to growing with everybody in the future.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I will give a shout out. So, my dad's a veteran. My mom texted me this morning and told me he fell in the driveway and he hurt his back.
No.
Yeah. So, but he's going to probably be laid up for a little while, I'm sure. So I will, when this is out there, I'm definitely going to send this to him. So let him watch it, and he'll be, he's always proud of all the things that I get a chance to do. So
awesome.
I'll give my dad a shout out and say, hopefully by the time he watches this, he's up and moving a little bit again.
Yeah. Getting back out there. Well, definitely heal up. Make sure you're in good shape there. Thank you guys so much for being on our show. Thank you guys for being at Vet Fest. I'm excited to continue learning more about Firstrust and recognizing the things that you do around the city. So we should do this again. Obviously, especially if you guys are doing an event or something like that. Maybe we can do an event podcast right before that event, so it helps kind of get the word out a little, so that's always a good look.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks for that.
Definitely.
I had a great time out. It was always fun hanging out.
Awesome. So you guys out there, make sure you guys like and subscribe. You like content like this, make sure you come back every Tuesday. We put a new episode out, and on behalf of Greencastle, your nation's premier strategy execution firm, I'm your host Al Green. We have Jason and Matt on our show.
We'll see you in the next episode.